morning, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast, The Tryhards. Weekly, you can hear us talk about different aspects of entrepreneurship, business ownership, and what it's like doing it so young. We're your hosts, Maddie Thompson.
And Bella Rookley. Thank you for joining us. Today we're back with another episode of our series called Let's Talk to You. In this series, we're interviewing young people who identify as entrepreneurs, business owners, hobbyists, or otherwise self-employed individuals. Today we'll be interviewing somebody new, somebody who doesn't necessarily fall into our catchment, but is definitely very interesting. So this person is DJ Blitz. Most of you do know him, but for those of you who aren't necessarily with the Winnipeg vibe, let's have him fill you in. So DJ Blitz, what came first, the radio or the host?
So that's what a way to start. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the podcast. I really appreciate it. And yeah, it's been quite the journey thus far. And basically a bit about myself is that about 8 years ago, I started on the journey of DJ. So that was my first thing, was being a DJ. And through that, I just kind of made some connections in the city and had a passion for music and still do. But that was a time when, clubs in Winnipeg were just super, super vibrant and, electric on the weekends. And that's really where I got my start. And throughout that time, that helped me pay for university, where I went to business school at U of W, so got a little business degree there, majored in marketing and HR. It was around that time where I was like, okay, maybe I'll try, broadcasting for a bit. I've always been in love with business though as well. So I would consider what I do with social media, that's kind of where, the business side comes into play, is because I consider that I have a business where I'm helping local businesses in Winnipeg with their operations, with their social media, different campaigns here and there. And that's kind of one of my passions as well. As a big passion is TikTok and, Instagram and all these different channels where, content creation is the main key there.
Yeah, I can definitely see that marketing background in all of your work on social media. So I want to hop right into your TikTok success. I've watched so many of your videos, but there's one that stood out to me like crazy, and it's the one of you pretending to be the guy hired to clap for Sean Paul. And I saw it when you first posted, and I honestly died laughing. It was the funniest video I've ever seen. For those of you that don't know, Justin Bieber and a bunch of other celebrities actually reposted DJ Blitz video. It went pretty viral. So how did you feel when they reposted your video?
So it was interesting. At the time, I was just, I wasn't really doing too much. I was just, I think I was just sitting at home, and I saw it was a flurry of like DM requests on Instagram. And I'd never seen that many requests in Instagram. So I knew something had happened. I didn't know what, but I knew something had happened. Like at this point, I didn't really know what was going on, but I knew that before that, a meme account with I think it was 5 million followers or something reached out to me, and they said, hey, can we post this? And I said, well, maybe something will come of it, maybe not. So I'm sitting there, I'm looking at all these requests, and it's all the same message. It's, dude, Justin Bieber is supposed to be your TikTok. Justin Bieber is supposed to, it's the same thing, and it's just a continuous flurry. And I'm like, okay, hold on now. What is going on? How did this happen? And then I was like, okay, I guess maybe Justin Bieber saw the post on Memesar, which is that meme account, and that's how that occurred. But it was just very, at the time, I didn't know what to do, because sometimes you'll have an opportunity right in front of your fingertips, and you're just not really know how to capitalize. So immediately that's when I said, well, how about I think it'd be funny if I just waited. So I waited all day. Didn't say a word on social media about it, and then it just kept up. It just kept up the talk about it, because people are like, is he not going to acknowledge it? Is he not going to acknowledge it? And it was just, because here's the thing, as soon as you acknowledge, it's over, right? It's done. There's nothing more to be said. So I kind of waited all day, and then I made my response video tagging Justin Bieber saying, hey, I accept, your request for me to clap for your new album. And it's funny, that one, I actually can't claim originalness of it, because it was like It was a TikTok trend at the time, and I still see videos with people doing their own spin. But that's what I like about TikTok, is that even if it's not considered an original like idea, it's everyone's own way that they do the trend. And that's one that like they're putting it on Dr. Oz in the summer, right? So there's different things that came with that. But yeah, that was quite the experience for sure.
Okay, so where did DJ Blitz come from, Daniel?
Well, this was actually back in high school, where I used to play a lot of video games with my brother, and one of the games was Madden, NFL football. And always in that game, what I would do is I would just take one of the linebackers and just constantly blitz the quarterback. That was my one play. I was terrible at video games, but I had one play that I did where I would just blitz the quarterback every single time. And it just, from that, my brother would just shout out when we were playing video games, "Oh, blitz, blitz." And from there, it kind of just stuck. And then I think it was like in high school where I started to do a bit of rap. That slowly died out. The rap game definitely was a quick one, but I used the name Blitz for that. And then from there, it was, I think, after I graduated from Dakota, I decided to take up DJing, and I just slapped on DJ in front of it and said, let's just roll with it and see where it goes. So that's the story behind that.
That's the best thing ever. So how did your success start in radio? What was kind of the thing that got your name out there?
I think it was honestly social media, because how it all kind of started for me was I would do DJ events, and I would kind of notice, okay, a lot of the time DJs who would be at the nightclub would just be there playing the music, and then they would leave for the night. And I thought, well, what if I could make this more of an experience where I could kind of be interacting with the crowd, and it was like they almost knew me personally, and and it was kind of that idea of bringing in social media, getting your name out on social media, then hitting the clubs. And from there, people would kind of go, oh, that's the guy from, social media. Started to run a lot of contests with the finger swoosh. That kind of got some talk going. And from there, that's when I went to Virgin Radio and said, hey, would I be able to try out some broadcasting? Yeah, they went for it, and it was great. I attribute a lot of success, I would say, to social media, because there are ways of getting your name out there, but in these times, one of the easiest ways is just to get on all those platforms that allow that growth, like TikTok. We're seeing Instagram Reels now, even Snapchat Spotlight. So I'm seeing a shift, towards that, for new people trying to get their brands or company name out there. So I always advise people to never forget about social media as part of their package.
For sure, Maddie would know all about that with her marketing business, and I actually just got a new marketing job for the Chamber of Commerce, so that's pretty cool as well. Oh, no way. Yeah. So what's one thing that you wish that you knew before starting your career as a radio host?
I would say that I would have wanted to be a little more patient in knowing a plan, like having a bit of a plan. It's oftentimes I kind of live in the moment with no plan for the future, but I think that if you have a plan of like maybe 5 years, you're able to overcome whatever lies ahead within that time. So oftentimes a lot of people will come up to me and they'll talk about how it's just a long process to get into the entertainment business, and they don't like this about it, and how long is this going to take before I can achieve this, achieve that. And I think it's just like knowing that it's going to take time. Entertainment business, it's not an overnight thing. And if someone would have said to me, this is what you're going to have to do for the next 8 years from when I started when I was 19, I probably wouldn't have done it, to be honest. But it's just because nothing is an overnight progression. You look at any public figure out there, in the entertainment industry, and it may seem like they just kind of appeared out of nowhere, but it's that promise that nobody has spent, everyone has spent countless hours to get to where they are. People just might not see the behind the scenes, and I think it's like if someone had told me how long it would have been before getting to this point, I think it would have been helpful, to be honest, just to kind of know what lies ahead. But having said that, on the flip side, sometimes it is good to just live in the moment and just enjoy every single day. And you never know. I didn't know that I would become a DJ when I was in high school, and then from there I didn't know that I'd go from becoming a DJ, and then I didn't even know that TikTok would be a thing, right? Like all of a sudden we're all doing it. 5 years ago we had no, if someone said the word TikTok, you'd think
we'd be like, what the heck is that?
Yeah, it's like, well, are you late? Like, what do you mean TikTok?
So who is the most influential person in your career development?
Oh, there's honestly, right from the start, definitely credit to Carlos Fontes from Sensational Sound. So what's kind of funny is that I was at this Halloween social one night, and just around this time I was wanting to get into Whiskey Dicks, which was at the time when it was still around. It was like the hottest nightclub for a Friday night, Saturday night. I wanted to get into this club to DJ so bad. He was the one who actually I met at this Halloween social out in Southdale, and he gave me that chance. I told him I don't have a lot of DJ experience, but here's where I want to get to. I wanted to get into Whiskey Dicks, and the next day he calls me up. He puts me at this lounge downtown and said, "All right, well, your journey begins." And eventually I got into Whiskey Dicks, so I was happy about that. But I kept saying, I'm like, I want to get into that club. I want to get into Whiskey Dicks, and he's like, you got to work your way up. And he's the one who really kind of taught me about the steps, and that some things can take years. And if you're not willing to put in that time and work, then it's just not gonna be a great fit. And then also I would say Troy Scott. Troy Scott's really the one who he's a former PD for Virgin Radio, and he gave me my shot in broadcasting, kind of take shots. So I mean, you have to take every break you can get and roll with that opportunity. So those are kind of two people that I definitely would consider.
That's awesome. So I'm big into marketing, as you and Bella may know, primarily social media marketing, and you've done an incredible job with that, as you've explained earlier. Do you have any advice for personal branding and how to have success with it?
I think if you were to make content, or to always have in mind creating content that people can share or tag their friends in, comment, something that can be localized, like for Winnipeg, and to always keep Winnipeg in the picture as part of your content. That's something that can allow you to really have that snowball effect here in the city. But always, if you have to have a goal in mind, and you have to recognize, okay, what is my goal? Is my goal reach, like to reach a wide audience? Is it just to have that niche following where, if you own your own cookie business, just finding all those like-minded cookie fans, in the city, and just focusing on them and not trying to, broaden the reach to non-cookie lovers, right? But for me, like, my approach is just kind of citywide, and it ends kind of at like Manitoba. I don't really branch into Saskatchewan or, Toronto, or even, down in the States, because quite frankly, there's no purpose with that people in the States would look at me doing a finger swoosh and saying, "What's up, Winnipeg?" and they would keep scrolling, So what is your objective as your brand? Are you wanting to get those brand deals? If so, maybe you're gonna have to DM 1,000 businesses, and you'll get those brand deals, right? So it very much depends on what the goal is, but once you have that established, then you can kind of go from there.
Okay, so now we're going to shift gears a little bit, and we are going to go into a new segment called the Rapid Fire Questions. So you're going to answer the questions as fast as you can, okay? Are you ready?
I am ready.
If Winnipeg canceled you, where would you move to?
Toronto.
Any hidden talents?
Magic.
Last text you sent?
To Chrissy, I said, "Hey, boo."
First job?
Winnipeg Gold Eyes.
Teeth for eyelashes or eyelashes for teeth?
Teeth for eyelashes.
Winnipeg handshakes or walking to work in December?
Winnipeg handshakes.
If you could have a billboard anywhere in Winnipeg, where would you put it and what would be on it?
Portage in Maine, doing the finger swoosh.
Would you rather get locked in U of W or Walmart for a week?
Walmart, because they have food.
Yep. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Short, goofy, and creative.
If you could only buy one type of food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Pizza. Definitely pizza.
Love it. That's the end of our rapid fire questions. So as we wrap up the show, what tips would you give to someone who's looking for a similar career path as you've taken?
I would say schooling is very important. There are times where, you can choose to go into something in business without the post-secondary, but it's university has opened my eyes into getting outside that box and understanding people, understanding consumers and how people tick. And even just like a lot of times you see workplaces having like, sensitivity training and so forth, just to understand different people of all walks of life. And university did offer that for me. And it was just like, I think that university would be a great choice for, like, even if you're wanting to be an entrepreneur, just to have those tools in your pocket, and just to have that degree or diploma in your belt to give you different options, because you never know if one door closes, you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. Maybe I'll do some social media, then I'll go do some sales, and then I'll go do some emceeing in person, like live DJing. So like, I think it's good to always be open-minded and to keep that in mind of like, university is great. It is phenomenal. And, what you learn in university, if you can, head out and just take a few courses that, it doesn't even have to apply to, what you want to do. Like, and that's what University One does. U1 allows you to improve your writing. And from there, I learned how to write. And then in broadcasting, I was able to type show after show. And, so sometimes you don't know why you're learning certain things in school, but it always comes back around in the future. It always does.
It's all useful. So stay in school, kids.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us today, DJ Blitz. Before we go, can you do a What's Up Winnipeg for us?
Absolutely. What's up, Winnipeg?
It's been great talking to you. Thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in. Make sure that you come back next week for another episode of our new podcast, The Tryhards.
Check our cute asses out on Insta at The Tryhards Podcast. That's all for now. Happy entrepreneuring. See you next time.